Let's start. Well, first, Finn. I read your name, Stefan. Why did you change it to Finn? What's wrong with Stefan, man?
Um,
There's not
uh,
many of us out there.
First of all, I'm impressed that you said. Is your name Stefan?
Yeah,
Oh, it is. Wow,
yeah.
I've never actually met anyone else named Stefan.
I know.
It's a nickname. It came from my dad and my little sister, and it just caught on, and it's just a name that I resonate with. But I love both.
Okay, well, I'll forgive you. I'm going to begin, but then really, Finn, by asking. I mean, this is such a real tearjerker. This movie. I'd be a liar if I said I didn't cry my eyes out when I watched it last night. To both of you, really, but just starting with you, Finn. Just can you get moved and caught up in this story emotionally when you watch it, or is that quite tricky when you're obviously such a big part of it?
Okay, yeah. So the first time I watched this movie, I think I was just in shock. There's so much, like the fact that I'm seeing myself playing Zach, who is such an inspiring young man, and I needed to let that settle for a second, but the tears came, and I've watched it probably 7 times since, and I cry every single time. It's about Zach's story. The thing that makes you cry is the legacy that Zach left behind with his music and his strength and poise in the face of such adversity, and that's what gets me every time. It gets to the end of the movie, and I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, this kid was so incredible and is inspiring to me as a person and as a performer. So it still gets me every single time, unfailingly.
Is that the case for you, Neve?
Yeah, absolutely. We all watched it at the same time through a link, and then we got on Zoom afterwards to talk to each other, and we were all very emotional. Their story is beautiful and moving and inspiring, and so whether we did it a million times in the scenes, and it's still to see it put together and to see their story told in such a beautiful way. Yeah, it got me for sure, for sure. They're incredible people. So.
Yeah, because Finn, you mentioned what an inspiration he was. When you're playing him, because I mean, both he had this incredible kind of outlook on life and this spirit and kind of vibrancy. Just when you're playing him every day across a number of weeks, does that rub off on you as a person? Do you find that having obviously because when you're playing him and you're on set, do you find that his spirit is kind of something that left a mark on you in some ways, not just on the shoot but even afterwards?
Absolutely. I feel like Zach has been with me since before we started shooting and every day after. He's left a significant impact on my life, both personally and, of course, as a performer and actor. But on a personal level, he's helped to shift my perspective on grief and loss. And I really do have a much more positive and uh, I experience the value of loss and how that love stays with you even after that loss occurs. And that was something that I experienced in my personal life last year while we were filming. So to have him set that example and be able to get into that mindset and that headspace of positivity in the face of terminal diagnosis, that was inspiring to me to remember that I have the ability to connect with loved ones that I've lost even after they pass. And I feel very connected to Zach even still.
Yeah, and when playing the mother of a son who's obviously facing his own death, with acting, Neve, I guess usually the whole idea is to completely immerse yourself into a character, to become that character, and to really think and act like them across a number of weeks. But when you're playing a character like this and dealing with things like this, do you almost have to create actually a bit of a disconnect? Is it almost the opposite sometimes to when you usually act? Because if you get too immersed in what she's going through, it could probably be quite overwhelming.
Yeah, I think over time as an actor, you learn when is appropriate to shut it off. You know what I mean? Not to go there. I feel like when I was young, I would immerse myself so deeply and felt like I really needed to feel it all the time in order to do the best performance. And I've realized it's really unhealthy. Not good, great for one's soul. And I'm a mother of 2 young boys, so it was a lot to go there. You know, it was really sad. And getting to know Laura, I mean, she's so incredible, and she has such a beautiful perspective on the whole thing that that helped me to sort of not feel too melancholic about the whole thing, because she has, like I said, such a beautiful concept of what it's done for the family and for the world and for herself and for her relationship with Zach. But yeah, I mean, it was hard on set, but what it needed, it was exactly what it needed to be. And we also had lots of moments of joy on set as well, and made sure that we had light times in order to get through the days, you know.
Yeah, so you spent time with his mother then? Yeah.
Absolutely. I read her book when I was deciding to make the film, and before I was going to meet her, and then I met her the next day, and I was just I'm overwhelmed by this incredible woman, and her generosity and rawness in expressing her story to people and sharing it with others. And yeah, and she and Rob and the family, and even Sammy and Amy at times were on set with us and sharing their stories with us and supporting us. So it was a really beautiful experience in that way.
Yeah, I think that humanity's kind of greatest attribute is our ability to overcome things like this. But anyway, yeah. So Finn, I was wondering if you also did you meet his friends and sort of and people as well, sort of associated with him, to help craft an idea of who he was away from the viral videos we saw.
Yeah, so Madison Iseman, who plays Amy Adamley, her and I got to visit Minnesota prior to filming, and we got to visit the Sobiech home. They graciously let us in and opened their arms and hearts to the both of us, and were very vulnerable about their experience, which was invaluable for me as an actor and just a person who was looking to get to know the story a bit more. And they opened up by Sammy playing her music, Amy sharing letters that her and Zach had written together, Laura by allowing me to look in Zach's room and even read one of his journals that had unfinished lyrics and songs, which ended up developing into a full-length song for the movie. So yeah, that experience visiting Minnesota before filming was so helpful for me, and really fortified me, also to connect with them and kind of have that support system with each other for such a unique and strange experience. To have a movie told about your life is kind of an unprecedented thing. You don't quite know what the steps are to take to do it the right way. But I think since we had each other and connected in that way, it made the creation of the movie possible.
Really well. I've just run out of time. I was going to ask you very, very quickly, Neve, just quickly, because obviously Scream 5 is coming out. Just how excited you are about stepping back into the shoes of Sydney, because I know it's a character that you must feel so close to after all these years.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very, very excited. I'm going back to work in a week and a half. Since March, I've been at work, so it's going to be nice to be on set. It's definitely going to be nice to see Courtney and the directors, great, and yeah, getting back into the
Yeah, well, we can't wait. Well, thank you so much for your time today, guys. Best of luck with the movie and for everything else. Cheers. Take care.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey!